Okay. All right, guys, then we are going to go ahead and get started. We've got you down here today because we're going to talk about scheduling. So we are already at that point in your sophomore year that we've got to start thinking about what classes you're going to take as juniors. It's going by pretty quick, right? Yeah. So today what we're going to do is go over just some general opportunities. You know, over the last couple of years, we weren't able to meet with you guys in a group as much as we'd like to talk about some of these things. So we'll review that basic information and then get into your junior scheduling stuff. So academic opportunities here at Jennings County High School. The best resource for you guys to use to look at all of our academic information is our curriculum guide. How many of you have looked at this document, or you've seen this curriculum guide? A few of you. So that's going to be a major part of your homework between now and when you choose your classes next week. This is a new format as of last year. Before this, we just had a little booklet of course descriptions. This allows you to go into this document. It's interactive. You can click into any of the departments, specific information is really up here at the top. And say you really enjoyed some of your English classes, so you want to learn some more about that. A lot of our teachers have made videos about electives in each of our departments, or just about specific courses so that you can learn some more about those. Just reading course descriptions doesn't always give us the information that we want. So I encourage you to make sure that you go through this document, read course descriptions, watch some of these videos, and really dig into the things that we have to offer here at Jennings County, because we have some amazing, amazing things. Okay, and you can always get back to this table of contents page by pushing the home button, but really spend some time here and know this document exists. You'll get an email this afternoon with lots of links to this presentation and the curriculum guide and some other documents so that you can get to those specifically. You can also get to our curriculum guide just by going to the high school website. It's one of the very first things that you see. So along with the curriculum guide, just a couple of things to pull out of there to make sure you guys are aware of. Our advanced placement courses, we've got about 12 AP courses that allow you to earn college credit by passing a test at the end of those. We also have dual credit opportunities. So what am I talking about when I say dual credit? Anybody know? Okay, so dual credit means you're going to take a class in high school, you're going to get credit for high school, and you're going to get college credit as well. And the benefits of those are you're going to save a lot of time, you're going to save a lot of money, because most of our dual credit courses here for high school are free. So if looking at a four-year college is something that is in your plans, or even a two-year college, really make sure to look at those options. Okay? How many of you have heard of our Indiana College Corps? Or previously it was called the STGEC, which is a mouthful. But it's that first year of college that you can earn through dual credit. Did anybody know you could get your first year of college done before you even graduated from Jennings County High School? No? Okay, good. You're learning some things today. So if that's something that interests you in saving a lot of time and money, we have a checklist so you know which courses to take. A lot of these start your junior year, so you're going to want to look at classes like Advanced English 11, AP US History, some of those things if you want to try to complete that first year of college, which you can do completely free. And guys, also I want to point out, there's a lot of information that's being thrown at you today. This is some big stuff that we're going over. Some of it might be new, some of it might be a review from some things from last year. But if you have a question on anything, don't hesitate to raise your hand, because I want to make sure that everybody understands where we're at and that everything sinks in, okay? So a couple other pieces with academics that we just always like to promote. Project Lead the Way. How many of you have been in a Project Lead the Way class? Maybe Intro to Engineering, Biomed, lots of options out there. We're proud of this program because we've got a lot of hands-on career training. We've got biomed, computer science, engineering, and also we like to highlight our performing and visual art. We see these groups performing at various events, and we see lots of our visual arts products in our hallways. So just something, again, that we're very proud of if you want to participate in those. Another big piece that we're really expanding is our career and technical education career pathways, okay? So we are very fortunate that in this building, we have 13 career pathways that you can choose from to become a career concentrator in. I know that's a lot of terminology, but basically what we want to do is make sure that you understand these career paths. If you think you're interested in engineering, what does that really mean? We want to get you in the classes, learning the skills, meeting people, and prepared for whatever that next step is. Maybe you're going to go to a four-year college. Maybe you're going to go straight into the workforce. Maybe you're going to do an apprenticeship. Whatever that is, we just want to make sure that you're aware of that and you're able to have those opportunities. So we've got all of these pathways here at Jennings County High School, which is awesome. If you read through those, how many of you see something up there that interests you? Or you're already in some of these classes? Culinary arts, human services, teaching, engineering, ag, radio and TV, business, all kinds of good stuff. So, I also want to show you, this is a more specific document. Again, you'll get this sent out to you later that goes through the classes that are in each of these pathways. How many of you are in one of our principles courses this year? Principles of ag, principles of manufacturing, principles of teaching. A few of you. Okay, so you're going to want to look at this document too. It's also in the curriculum guide, but that tells you what your next course is in your pathway so that you can sign up for that for your junior year. And then you'll finish your pathway your senior year. Does that make sense? It takes 3 classes to finish your pathway. Okay. So some other things to go over. And again, I know you guys, this is your second year here, but we've not been able to promote a lot of these things just because of the changes. But this is a list of our clubs and groups that we have. So if you're not involved in something, we highly encourage you to become involved in a club or group or sport, which we'll look at too. But you also should get updates on when these clubs meet through your email. So check your email often, like every day, multiple times. Keep up on these things. Here's a list of our athletics as well. If you have questions on any of the athletics, our athletic office is across from the nurse's office. You can always stop in there and ask those questions that you might have. These are just some of our fun pictures from the last several years. You will notice a lot of these are pre-COVID, but this is what we're hoping to get back to when we have our full-blown homecomings again. And just some other events, the REACH conference, things that our ag fabrication students made. Okay, and that takes us to talk about graduation pathways. How many of you have seen this document before? You've heard about graduation pathways? Few? Okay, so this is really important. I need you guys to really pay attention to what we're going to talk about here, because previous to graduation pathways, to graduate from high school, you had to meet your diploma requirements and pass I-STEP, right? I mean, you just love I-STEP, and we're really sad that we don't have to take it again. That's what I thought. Okay. So you guys are fortunate because you've got the opportunity to graduate with multiple options, and those all come through graduation pathways. So you'll see on this document it's split into 3 sections. We've got box 1, box 2, and box 3. That's the terminology that we'll use. In order to graduate from high school, you have to check off box 1, box 2, and box 3 before you graduate. And as we talk through this, think in your head about, okay, I've already done this, or I'm going to do this, or okay, this makes sense. I think you'll find that it's going to be easier than you think to check these boxes off. So, the first box that we have to check off is your diploma requirements, and those come from the state and some local decisions that our board makes. So, this part hasn't changed. Your counselors make sure that you take so many credits in math, so many credits in science, English, electives, that type of thing. You have a general diploma, a core 40, academic honors, or technical honors. How many of you know which diploma track you are on? Good. If you don't, have that conversation with your guidance counselor when you get to meet with them before, when they're finalizing all of your scheduling stuff. And there's links to the diploma requirements there too. Then you'll get this presentation emailed to you later today. So box 2 that we have to check off. That shows that you can demonstrate employability skills. So when you walk across the stage for graduation, we want to make sure that you have some skills to be successful in the workforce, right? That's a big part of what high school is about, whether you're going straight into the workforce or you're going on to some sort of post-secondary training or some sort of service in the armed forces. So there's 3 ways that we can show these: a project-based experience, service-based experience, or a work-based experience. You only have to show something in one of these categories, not all 3. So, let's look at what those could be. Project-based experiences. If you're in a Project Lead the Way course, that counts. If you're in a class like Yearbook, that you're working towards a project all year, that counts. English composition, if you've got a course that works towards some sort of a portfolio project, that can count as well. Our service-based experiences, how many of you are already on a sports team or on some sort of a club or involved in a group here at the high school? Good. So as long as you are a productive member of that group and you've got a sponsor or a coach that can sign off, you've already checked that box. Even some clubs outside of school, so like 4-H or Scouts or something like that can count too, so you can just talk to your guidance counselor. The third option for box 2 is work-based experience. So maybe you want to take internship or work-based learning your senior year. Maybe you're in a course like education professions or as that transitions, where you're out working with students. All of those types of things count. The Career Center, if you're doing work-based learning through the Career Center. How many of you plan on being employed at some point during high school, or you already have had a job outside of school to earn some money? Outside employment also counts. So, lots and lots of ways to check off box 2. So how many of you would say you've already pretty much checked off box 2? That's a really good start, right? Okay, so box 3, those are our post-secondary ready competencies. And that's a big title for making sure, again, that you're ready for what happens after high school, that you've got some sort of a training. How many of you are working towards the academic honors diploma? That's kind of a 2-for-1. That checks off box 1 and box 3 for post-secondary ready. So that's easy. We give the ASVAB here, the ASVAB test through the military. So that's a test that's going to look at your interests and aptitudes. An industry certification could count. Maybe you get a certification in welding through the Career Center. Check off box 3. Any type of apprenticeship. That career and technical education concentrator. Again, that's if you take that principles course and the next 2 courses. Those 3 courses in your pathway. And you pass those successfully. Check off box 3. You get a certain score on your SAT. You could take a combination of 3 AP or dual credit courses. Lots of options. That's what I want you guys to understand, is you can really kind of tailor this to fit what your goals are. And then this slide just talks some more about those concentrator courses. So when you get this slide emailed to you, if you want to dig into that some more, you're more than welcome to do so. So that kind of brings us to our specific scheduling timeline for choosing your courses for your junior year. So we're meeting this week. You are back in here with us next Tuesday, okay? So during SRT next Tuesday, you're gonna come down here, you're gonna bring your devices next Tuesday. So that's the big difference. You didn't need them today, but next Tuesday you need to bring your devices because you're going to enter your course requests into a Google form so that your counselors can access those, and then they'll start calling you down to have those individual meetings. Once we have those, once you put your Google Forms in, again, your counselors will start to meet with you, and then we will start building the master schedule, and hopefully you'll kind of know where we are with your schedule early summer. So again, here's a link to the curriculum guide. I always come back to that because that's such a huge, huge piece of information and piece of the puzzle as you choose your courses. You really need to spend some time reading the curriculum guide and looking at what we have to offer. This is also a list of your guidance counselors. So if you need to email them or speak with them before you choose your classes, you can do so. So you've got this information. Okay, so I'm going to turn it over to guidance for just a couple of minutes here to talk about some more specific scheduling.
Okay, guys. So for the career technical education electives, that's what Mrs. Emmy was talking about earlier about those pathways. If you're in one of those principals classes and you're liking that class, you're enjoying that class, that's a great way to hit that box 3. So look in that curriculum guide, find the principals class that you're taking, and then look and see what the second class is. If you like it, definitely sign up for that class, okay? If you haven't taken a principal's class or you're in one currently and you're like, yeah, I'm not really sure this is what I want to do, you can take a different principal's class. The problem is that it takes 3 years to be able to finish that pathway. So you're going to have a hard time finishing that pathway just your junior and senior year. You can still take the class to see if you're interested in that for a possible career, but you're probably not going to be able to get that pathway in that. Does that make sense? 21st century scholars, if you are a 21st century scholar, or if you don't know if you're a 21st century scholar, reach out to your counselor. I'm the one that is in charge of the 21st century scholars program here at our school. There's several things that you need to do in order to make sure that you get that scholarship. First one is that you have all of these 3 requirements each year in Scholar Track that you need to keep up with. So I know Mrs. Emmy also said about checking your email, check your emails. That's how I'm trying to communicate that with a lot of our scholars. And if you don't know how to get in there, let me know as well. I can help you so you can get in there and make sure that you're doing all of those things to make sure that you can get that scholarship. The other thing to consider if you're a 21st century scholar is that you have to at least get the 440 diploma. You can get higher than that, but it has to at least be that 440 diploma. And you have to make sure that you graduate with at least a 2.5 GPA. Okay? So again, if you have questions about the 21st Century Scholars Program, you can reach out to me or you can reach out to your counselor. Next one is if you were said to be a high ability student, whether it was in middle school or maybe even in elementary school, one of the things is that they do recommend, it's not required, but it is recommended that you do take at least one advanced class each year. So if you know that you're a high ability student, especially depending upon where they said that you were high ability, if you're high ability in math, you're going to definitely want to take a look at taking one of those advanced classes in the math or in the sciences or whichever area it was that you were designated to be high ability. The last one is study hall. So when you're picking out your courses for next year, you can take a study hall, especially as long as you're caught up in all of your credits, you're not behind in credits. There is room to have a study hall every semester until you graduate, and you can still get the required amount of credits that you need. That being said, if you feel like you're not using it, that would be a great time if you're going to be going on to college to pick up maybe a dual credit class. If you're somebody who's involved in maybe a sport or a club, and say, I don't know, you play volleyball, and so fall semester it's kind of crazy for you. That might be a good semester for you to consider taking a study hall and then picking up maybe a 1 semester elective class there in the spring semester. So for scheduling, we're going to show you 2 different mock schedules. The second one will be for those of you that are interested in maybe the Career Center. This first one And when we meet with you guys next week, we're gonna kind of go through this in order. First, we're gonna look at which English class you need, okay? Should have had English 9, English 10, depending upon how you're currently doing in your English class. You might want to be looking at taking that advanced or the AP English. And that's going to be all together in one course next year. In the past, it's been you choose one or the other, either the advanced or you choose the AP. But this time it's just going to be one, so you don't have to make that distinction. And if you're kind of on the fence, you're like, yeah, I kind of want to push myself to do, maybe a little bit more challenging class, prepare for life after high school. If you're currently getting an A, a high B in that class, reach out to your English teacher. Talk to them. Ask them what their recommendation is. They've been with you for quite a bit now. They're going to know what your abilities are and be able to give you some good guidance in that area. The next one will be for your math. Next year we'll be looking at probably Algebra 2 or pre-calculus, depending upon what you've already had and what you've already passed. If you are wanting to take pre-calculus eventually or one of those higher level math classes, if you have not taken Algebra 2 yet, highly recommend looking at the Honors Algebra 2 or the Advanced Algebra 2. That one's going to get you a lot more prepared for that pre-calculus than if you were to just take the Algebra 2 itself. And same thing, talk to your math teachers. They know what your strengths are. Next, you'll be looking at your science requirements. There's several different ones that you can take, and it's going to be dependent upon what you've already passed. If you've already had biology, you've already had ICP, then you're going to be able to move on to the next one, whichever one that is that you decide. And that's where it's really important for you guys to take a look at that curriculum guide, because it's going to have step by step. If this is where you started, this is what you can take next. This is what you can take next. And the higher you guys get up, the more opportunities you're going to have to take different things. Next will be your U.S. history. U.S. history is also a requirement for graduation, so everybody will have to take it. But you have your choice between U.S. history and advanced placement U.S. history. For your 5, 6, 7, and 8 open spots, that's where you can start looking at some electives. If you're thinking about doing one of either the academic honors diploma or the technical honors diploma, this is where you're going to want to look at the foreign languages for the academic honors diploma. Remember, for that one, you're required to take 3 years of a foreign language or 2 years of one and 2 years of another. You can also, if you're a student who is either interested in or currently taking and want to continue, maybe in any of your arts, your band, your choir, flags, that would be a great place to put those in. Again, you can also use a study hall and any other electives. I am going to recommend, though, seriously, guys, take a look at that curriculum guide. It has all of this information in there. And I've already talked to a couple freshmen that are, oh, hey, well, what should I do? Well, have you looked at the curriculum guide? No. Take a look at it, because there's tons of options in there, especially if you're needing maybe a one-semester elective. It's going to tell you which classes are a full year and one semester and all that good stuff. And then the next one, how many of you guys are interested in the Career Center? Cool. If you have signed up for it, or you are still interested and want to sign up for it, reach out to your counselor so we can make sure that you are either on that list or that we get you registered to make sure that there's room for you for that list. If you're at the Career Center, you will either be going over there in the mornings or in the afternoons, depending upon their schedule. They have students coming from a lot of different schools, so they got to make sure that they have you in the right spot. Once they tell us whether you're going to be morning or afternoon, then we're going to schedule your classes here to be that opposite. So 4 of your blocks will be over at the Career Center, and then your other 4 blocks will be just like we talked about earlier, your English, your math, your science, and your history. Does anybody have any questions about those classes? Okay. Definitely take a look at that curriculum guide. Most of the answers that you're looking for are in there.
Okay, so again, we've thrown a lot of this information at you, so what are our next steps? You received an email this morning that you will take an assessment in Indiana Career Explorer. How many of you saw that email from Mrs. Davis? It came from Mrs. Davis. So at some point during SRT, towards the end of this week, maybe the beginning of next week, because you guys will have Monday too, which won't be in the schedule until Tuesday. But there's a quick 5-minute assessment that will tell you some careers that really fit your personality. That can be very useful as you choose your courses and have these conversations with your parents, with your guidance counselors. Just will help you be more informed. So make sure that you complete that, and then you're going to enter your results into a Google form that's also linked on the slide that you received. I'm going to say it again for probably the 5th time. You have to spend time looking at that curriculum guide. That is where every bit of information that you need for scheduling is located, and way more. There's more information than you can possibly read in there. But it is my favorite document of all time, I think. Look at your graduation pathway information. Keep that in mind as you are choosing your courses and some of these experiences as you continue to go through school. Make sure that you're discussing your course selections with your parents, somebody at home, with your current teachers. They're going to be a great resource for you about, hey, I'm really interested in this. What do you think I should take? A lot of our teachers know the amazing things that are happening in our building, and they want to share those things with you. And the other piece that we need you to do, so you are back here on Tuesday during your same SRT time, bringing your device, but between now and then you need to write down what classes you plan to request on that Google form. So that way you've got a little list. You can put it in your phone, just a piece of paper, jot it somewhere. So you have those 8 classes, whatever they might be, and if you've got a semester course, make sure they're balanced, that you're going to put into that Google form and request. Does that all make sense? Okay. So what questions do we have at this point? Any specific questions? Oh, yes, sir.
Yeah, what's the difference between U.S. history and AP U.S. history?
Great question. Question is, what's the difference between U.S. history and AP U.S. history? AP stands for Advanced Placement. So that's a type of course that the College Board offers. It's a national testing company. You have the opportunity at the end of AP U.S. history to take an exam. And if you earn a 3, 4, or 5 on that exam, 5 is the highest, then you earn college credit. So that's a course, if you are looking at going to a 4-year college after high school, that would be one that you'd want to consider. It is a higher rigor than regular U.S. history. Okay, very good question. And that's going to be true. That's kind of the general setup of all of our advanced placement courses. Any other questions? How many of you feel a little bit more confident about graduation pathways? Feel like you understand these a little bit better? Did I do a terrible job? 3, 4. Oh, they're starting to come. They're starting to come. Good. Guys, it's going to take a little while for it to soak in. I completely understand that. There's a lot of details. But I do want you to focus on the fact that while there are a lot of details and things to kind of wrap your head around, it gives you amazing options. So focus on the positive there. Okay? That's all I've got. Thank you.